Hello and welcome to episode 11 of the Western Bulldogs podcast, Barclay Street. That's hashtag Barclay Street for all you cool kids out there on the social medias, on the Instagrams, the Twitters, and all that sort of gear. Brought to you by Mercedes-Benz, of course, who are our very dear friends, who make all of this possible, Marcus. And it's great to see you, and it's great to hear your voice. How are you, my friend?
Going well, mate. Going well. Been a good week. Once again, from a sort of training perspective, we're moving closer to a game, which is nice. Obviously, next week against the Saints will be plenty of fun and be good to be back out there, mate. But all going well, to be honest. How are you, mate?
Yeah, no, all good. Sort of nice to sort of feel like a bit of normality's coming back into life.
Yep.
I don't really have that
kids,
much news.
Kids, have you been homeschooling and all that business?
So we've got two at home, and Delilah. So the grade one, she's back.
Yep.
And she's probably the one we would have picked to go back, I reckon.
Okay. So were you engaged in the like the homeschooling? Like, did you and Jazz work out who was going to be best suited to what, or were you just not my strong suit?
It was mutually agreed without really needing a conversation that Justine would be best suited. I had a couple of cameos, and look, long division was hard enough for me in real time. But having a 25-year layoff and then going back into like carry the one. What?
Bodmas? Bit of bodmas.
Oh. It was, it's changed a lot. It's all
has it?
A lot of different methods.
Okay.
I still hold supreme on the times tables. Bang, 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 bang. But,
do you have them on the back of the toilet door like my parents did?
At the moment we've got them up in the lounge room. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Nice. I always liked that. I thought, what a great idea is to whack it on the back of the toilet door when you're doing your business, just to work through your times tables.
You like to settle in, do you?
Yeah, a little bit. Now I just like,
how many?
Look at me phone.
Without going into the gruesome detail. How many?
Well, I wasn't going to,
the
but
8s or 9s. You work through the 1s and the 2s just to get through to the.
To be honest, because I was so interested in footy, I just worked my best on the 6s, and the 1s. That was it. Yeah, and that's all I thought. All I needed to. I like the 9s. 9s are my favourite.
9s are my favourite too.
About how you do it has to equal 9, like the 7 and the 2, isn't it? Yeah. What was it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there's a little
8 and the 1, 18. Yeah.
So every answer adds up to 9, so it's just one less.
Exactly. Yeah. Spot on.
Yeah, it was a good one, that one. My kids, they're not much chop at the times tables, but Mrs. Murphy, Justine, she's been principal, so that she runs a tight ship out there.
Yeah, no doubt.
How you feeling about round 2? You feel prepped and ready?
Do, mate. I do. Physically, absolutely, because I guess you know what it's like. You go into a program, and for those listening, when we're off, clearly we had a running program to do. So you've got plenty of sort of run in the legs. But the big thing probably in the 4 weeks that we've had, 2, almost 3 now, is to from a skill point of view and trying to get that rhythm, the chemistry, sort of playing together and reading each other again. And you've always got a level of that because you spend so much time and the group's been together for, the core group's been together for a while now, but it's more the skill under pressure and the execution of things when the heat's up and going. So feel like the boys have, physically are in great shape. It's now just a matter of being able to put together our style and structure under the heat of a AFL standard from a pressure point of view. So that's going to be the thing that everyone, I think, will probably find challenging initially is off only 4 weeks of training, who's going to be the best to adjust and who's going to be the most in sync and in rhythm. So, feeling like we're in a pretty good space at the minute. But once again, it's sort of just talk. We've got to do it on the track now.
Yeah, well, that's true. So you won't be completely alone out there. There'll be no supporters there per se. Not for the first round. Who knows what happens in the days and weeks ahead? But it sounds like the club's thought laterally and going to put some cardboard cutouts of our members. What do you know about that?
Yeah, well, I think they've been sort of generously donated by our good friends at Pedigree, which, as you mentioned before, where we're nothing without our friends, especially in times like these. So essentially, I think what you can do is, if you're a member, there's heaps of information online about it, but you take a photo of yourself and you can send it in and have it put on basically a cardboard, and then it's cut out and then going to be put in I think the cheer squad they're trying to put together. So I think it's a great thing for our fans to still feel like they're connected to the game in some way, and obviously being able to see a few faces when we run out, and we always run into the goal square. I'm sure I'll find it, quite amusing to see maybe some friends in there. I don't know if you're thinking about it, mate. It'd be great to see your face in there if you're willing. Just see a few exactly.
Selfie,
A fair bit of pouting. Of course. So I think it's a pretty cool concept. The club's, trying to obviously keep our people involved.
No, it'd be a massive thrill for the members. I reckon they were able to.
Well, have you got an opinion on the canned? Have you heard the canned sort of noise in terms of the crowd? Have you got an opinion on that?
I've only heard it on the radio. So we did a thing on Drive SEN 11:16. 3 till 6 p.m.
Have a look at you. Well versed now, aren't you? You don't miss a chance. Respect, but also disgusted.
We listened to 2 bits of play, one without, one with. Like I was like, yeah, okay, it sounded all right. No, it wasn't sort of too hassle, but I'm wondering how it is with TV when with the visual of no crowd.
So I've watched a bit of the rugby, which kicked off last week, and they had it going for the league, the rugby league, and I sort of found it quite engaging. Like I sort of felt myself, like emotionally, a fair bit more connected with the sort of sound in the background. Basically, I don't think it's on in the stadiums. My understanding is it's just sort of visual and, I guess, auditory for people at home. So I didn't mind it. I thought it was a nice little sort of familiarity with that was the feeling.
Familiarity.
I've familiarity. Familiarity.
I think he plays in the NEFL familiarity. Yeah.
That's twice. I've had 2 of those on this podcast. That's the same word that's going twice.
Hey,
feelings of
all it
familiar.
does is remind people that this is live podcasting. This is not.
It's live, baby. That's it.
This is not sort of sugar coated and smoothed over. We're not scholars.
No, far from it.
Just a couple of jocks. Hey, I want to show you. We're gonna have a break shortly and call in a guest that I'm really excited about. And Bulldog supporters, it'll be familiar to them. One of their favourites, guy I love playing with. But I want to show you a little snippet of video from 2018, and it was against the Cats. And keeping in mind the context here is it had been 9 years since we'd beaten the Cats, and 11 games since we'd beaten the Cats. And I just want to I'm not sure if you've seen this, but just your memories of this moment, because revisiting it, it's only a couple of years ago, but it does look to me like one of the more bizarre moments to finish a game ever, really. So we'll roll the tape.
He's got it. Got to be careful they don't lose it. Duncan now can straighten and go deep inside 50. Won't get the dirty high ball.
Oh, no.
Taylor.
No. Oh.
Within 25 metres. Time will run out here. We saw him kick early in the game. He's aware of the clock. Siren sound. Geelong has a kick after the siren to stay in touch with the top 4. Harry Taylor. Goodness gracious me. The pressure, forget about the clock, Harry. You've got as much as you need. Look at the Dogs on the mark. Look
Enough of you.
the whole team. And he's missed. He's missed. How can they have so many on the mark?
So tough one for Cats fans. So sorry for any of the. Sorry to Harry.
They're right. They had 9 years of champagne. They had 9 years of champagne every time they played the Dogs. So I think we were due for a bit back.
Have you seen that back before? Did you watch that?
Yep. I have. it's
Were you,
you know,
were you one of the 50 blokes in that?
I was there. I think I was the one. I think I started as the one on the mark because as I was sort of putting my mouth guard. I think so because I thought, you know, it was either supposed to be someone tall or a ruckman, so I thought I was probably in the area. But I remember, it was. I mean, I had one of those oh no moments. Like I can't believe it. Like we played so well for the majority of the game, and I think they'd come back. I remember Gary Ablett, I think, kicked the goal just before that, and you could just sense it's like, oh, okay, they're not done here. And sometimes, you know, like we just got to win this centre clearance, and as soon as we lost it, you just sort of know teams like that who are full of mature players who've sort of been in circumstances before. They stay calm, and they obviously knew what they were doing and what they'd planned to do. And clearly, the kick across the 50 seems like unbelievable. And he's a great kick. He's one of the best, you know, running kicks in the game, Mitch Duncan. But
could he do it on his left?
Murphy, clear. He was inspirational to have a look at this kick.
You got to let it go. Let it go. All right. Others will do the talking for you, mate. You shouldn't feel the need to, you know.
So I'm going to ask the hard question. Did you guys break the rule that night?
What rule? Don't know what you're talking about.
Matt,
Don't know what you're talking about.
Well, every time I've ever said it or read it, it's always man on the mark. Like same way there was a man on the moon. There wasn't men. There wasn't men on the moon, and there seemed to be men on the mark. How many?
Yeah, but more. Yeah, I don't know how to answer that.
Did you cheat?
I didn't. If I didn't, because I was the man on the mark. It was all the blokes behind me that cheated. So.
Oh. what a leader! What a correct!
I don't know. I look back at it and I go, like in a way, for one part of me makes me feel not a little bit sorry for Harry Taylor because that's a lot of pressure kicking after the siren to win the game. And we reacted the way that we did with pretty much hysteria. And at the time, I sort of felt like we'd spoken about, led the game in, that we'd led the podcast in with before, that 11 straight losses, 9 years of, and we knew about that. Like, you know, as a football player, when a team's got the, you know, got it over you a little bit. So I think it was that too. Like it was, you know, but I don't enjoy winning games like that, if you know what I mean. Like I always like winning games in our own right. Like, and most players might be like that. So a part of me was like, I wish we had have just won it, you know, and been able to sort of sew it up and just win it on our own terms. But in the end, we clearly sort of, you know, just breaking that drought of wins against Geelong was a pretty big one for the football club. And back in 2018, we didn't win a heap of games either, so they all sort of were pretty special and important. But yeah, it's funny. Like I remember watching the ball just go over my head, and you're just thinking, oh no, like you just get a sense, you know, in games where you just like, especially moments, you're like, oh, there's a mark coming here, or something's going to happen. And sure enough, it did. But Harry did miss, and then we ended up winning. But one of those days, you're just like, we got away with one there.
Yeah, no, we did get away with one there. Hey, let's have a little break, and after the break, we will welcome in a Bulldog favourite and a bloke who I love playing with, and he was a lot of fun off the field, and he was a damn good player on it. I'm not going to spoil with any of his nicknames because it takes a while to get through them all, but Matthew Robbins will be joining us after the break. Welcome back to the Western Bulldogs podcast, Barclay Street, and let's get straight into it because I'm excited. I know the Bulldogs supporters out there be very excited. We don't hear enough from this bloke. We don't see enough of him. And to be honest, he was bloody gorgeous when he was running around in the red, white and blue. And he's still pretty bloody gorgeous. He's got a bit of a tough guy vibe going these days. He's got the tats and he's got the very cool Trilby hat. But Matty Robbins, welcome to Barclay Street, man. Great to see you.
Thanks, Bob. Good to be back. Obviously, when I got the shout out and you said you wanted to get me involved, I was like, what else was I going to do? I was always going to be here.
Oh, that's so good, mate. I don't think you two have met, but Marcus, this guy who's joined us today, could seriously play. Very exciting to watch, but he was just as much fun in the locker room. You would have enjoyed his company. Big personality. played in an era when players had big personalities, not so much like your era now, where pretty dry, sort of salada kind of stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Is that how we're doing it? Are we? Is that how we're starting it? This is Bob the whole time, and I'm sure you'd probably attest to this is what he probably most of his career was like. But it's very cynical, and he doesn't like young people.
Yeah, he was a ripper in the change rooms, definitely, Bob, with plenty of many good story. Yeah, it was always a lot of banter.
We had a good time. So how are you holding up in these isolation times? You're doing a bit of homeschooling, is that right?
Yeah. So I've had a few issues with I hurt my ankle at work a year and a half ago. So I've been off work for a year and a half. Just with I've had 2 ankle operations, and I never had any issues with my ankles playing footy at all. And that's probably been the worst injury I've ever had in my life. So I've had 2 ankle operations. I've got a staph infection. So I was on a drip for like 8 weeks, and so I've had probably the last year has been a bit of a nightmare. But then obviously just with having the kids home, it's been good actually to have the kids home, and I've been able to homeschool them, so see them in a different light.
What was work before you hurt yourself, and how did you?
So I'm a chippy by trade, but I do a lot of shop fitting and cabinet making as well for the company that I work for. So I was always just up and down ladders, but I think it was just a wear and tear thing from football days, and but I'm spewing I got it done now. I should have just left it with a bit of pain. It's been a nightmare.
That sounds pretty rough, mate. How's the homeschooling going? As you are. What sort of teacher are you?
Well, I'm actually better. To be fair, I'm actually better at maths now than I was back when I was younger. I get it now, and I'm thinking, man, why wasn't I gun at this when I was younger? Like this, I actually get it now. And like the kids look at me and they go, "Geez, Dad, you're pretty smart at your maths." And I'm like, "Yeah, I am, son. I was pretty good back in the day, but But I actually, for some reason, I just get it. I know I'm 40 years older, but like I just pick it up a little bit easier these times. So, no, I've got a daughter, a 14-year-old daughter, and I've got boys that are 12, 11, 10, and 9. So,
Busy.
I had 3 of my own and picked up 2 in the draft a couple of years ago, and so I've got the 4 boys a year apart from each other, and they just love it. Like so they obviously schooling has been fine with them, but they just love their footy as well. So it's good to have them all living in the same roof.
Are they?
You've almost got a team there.
Mad Bulldog supporters, Mad Bulldogs. We've got one at St Kilda. We'll sort that out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know. I mean, what are they? One flag? I mean, it's the most dangerous species in the world.
Twice as many.
You were doing a bit of a deep dive on Robbo, weren't you? You had a few questions of your own about him.
I did. Yeah, there was a couple of things. I mean, so I think if I'm correct, come across to the Dogs here after was it 98? Did you start 98 or 99?
98. Yeah, 98 was my first year. The Bulldogs are pretty, they were decent size. 97 was when they just, they missed that prelim game or whatever. So I was at Geelong 3 years prior to that. And the year I went to Geelong was 95. So they were gun side, unbelievable stars on each line. And so I didn't get much of a shot there. And then, lucky enough, the player wanted to trade me to the Bulldogs. So, I mean, got my opportunity then.
It's the one thing I'm sort of interested in unpacking a little bit, the process of getting all the trade and how that goes through, and back in sort of 98, how everything happened there. Can you just tell me and probably everyone who's listening how it unfolded?
Well, it's funny you should say that, because I was on a footy trip with Geelong, and we were in Bali, and I got the phone call at 7 o'clock in the morning. I just got home from the nightclub with Adam Houlihan, another Geelong player, and they've said, "Oh yeah, hi, it's I can't remember the name, who the GM at the time, and he said, "Oh, we need to have a chat to you. They're looking to do a trade." And I thought they were bullshitting. I thought it was one of the other players playing around.
Boys,
And so I've hung up on him, and then like I've had a player actually come around to my room and go, "Nah, you got half an hour to actually sort this out because there's going to be a trade go through." And I was like still drunk trying to make a decision, but it was a no-brainer. I was always coming back because I lived in Melbourne, so it was always going to be a good decision just to come back to come home and obviously go to a pretty decent side in the Bulldogs. So it worked out well.
How did that first year for you go? 98. It's a pretty tough side to break into.
Yeah, I didn't, mate. I didn't get a game in my first year, to be honest. But because it was a really good two side. Like we won the flag in the twos, and like we had guys like James Cook and Minton Connell floating around in the twos, and like the two side was an absolute gun side. Like
Christian McCree and a few of those dudes.
Yeah, all those guys, all like really good players. I think Brownie was playing. I don't know if Brownie played in the twos flag, but Mark Elvey and all those guys. So so it was a really hard side to even get a look in. And to be honest, that first year I had to do the hard work. I wasn't really prepared properly like I should have been, and then I got to go the following year and played only 15 games the following year. So it just took a while to break in, but once I got there, I was happy to stay.
Marcus, you're going to ask him about the timeline of the nicknames, because they're some of the great nicknames.
It is. And
of any era.
Bob rates himself as a nickname giver. I don't know if there is a term for that, but whoever bestows the nicknames upon you. So I'm sure he would have had something to do, but talk me through some of the nicknames that you got over the journey, because as far as I know, you had some nice ones. Any player would appreciate probably any one of them, but I'm keen to hear what they were and maybe how they came about.
Who were you at the Cats?
At the Cats, no one really knew me or really spoke to me, to be honest. You don't get nickname status until you play 50 games. But I got a few of the Dogs, but it was just the basic Robbo. That was the basic one.
My memories are there was Hollywood, Big Sexy, and then Big Poppa Pump. They're the big three.
Yeah, Big Poppa Pump was one of my favourites, I've got to be honest. Like,
of course.
Like when you try and yell that stuff out on an AFL ground, like Papa or Pop Pump, give me the ball. Like, it's just got something to it. So, I copped a few over the time. I ended up with Dogger, but that was just, I don't think that was just, as usual, you get like variations of a nickname, and it just changes over the time. So, but Dogger is probably the one that's stuck with me the most.
Yeah. So. Well, that's so on Instagram, and that's how we sort of reconnected in the last couple of weeks. So because I almost missed it, I was like Matty Dog 4. I was like, there's a couple of comments here. And I sort of checked. I was like, that's Big Poppa Pump. So I almost missed it, but I'm glad I was able to join the dots, because now we've got you back on Barclay Street, and this is where we need you, bro.
This is prime time. Let's be honest.
This is prime time. Yeah, we're shifting big units here. It's got a big reach.
I've got another one too, and this might have come on information I've received from another source. I won't name who, but you strike me as a bloke. You as a fast player. Were you ever in the grand final sprints? Was it ever something you were nominated for, or something you had a crack at?
Yeah, I went in it. I went in it one year. Because I always thought I was pretty fast, but then I finished third. I finished third. And it was, and I got a funny story about it actually, because when I did finish third, back then they used to give you those big checks. So I won $1,000. So so we decided to go out, and a few of my mates come to watch me do it. So we decided to go out to Frostbites, which is on Chapel Street, and we took the big check with us. I handed it over the bar and said, "I'll put a couple of drinks on for the boys,"
Cash it in.
And they didn't accept it.
They didn't accept it. No, that's disappointing.
But that's as close as I've got. But like they're all 6'6" blokes winning it these days. The King brothers won it, didn't they, this last year?
Yeah, I think you're right.
True.
Yep.
We were a bit confused as your teammates. I remember being a bit confused because you always look so fast, and we'd have the team highlights videos, and you had the form, and you had the golden tan, you had the big pipes, and then we started to wonder because you weren't the tallest, whether it was just an optical illusion that you had these little legs that just pump, and you had the form.
It was all for show, Bob. Let's be honest. It was all for show.
You still look pretty fit though. I know you got a sore ankle, but your physique, I mean, it was like Chung Lee out of Bloodsport there for a long time. You were a very famous muscular rig. You're still keeping pretty fit?
Yeah, I didn't spend much time in the weights room when I was at the Dogs, so it was just all natural. But I'd still love going to the gym. But with 5 kids, you can't. So where do you get time? You just don't get time. So what I like the most is just going down and have a kick of the footy with the kids and stuff, and just having a bit of a run around there. That kind of keeps you fit. So.
Yeah, nice. Hey, what we love to do on this podcast, Robbo, and thank you very much for giving up your time. I know you're busy with the kids, helping them through their schooling, which is pretty serious stuff. What we do like to do, though, we like to pick a bit of footage from the archives, revisit it, have a bit of a chat about it. And when we got to, when we found out you were coming on the show, there was a catalogue of highlights we could have used because you were a spectacular player. You did some amazing things. Some of the bravest things on a footy field I've ever seen were some of the things you were doing going back with the flight. But I think it would be remiss of us if we didn't revisit a mark you took against the Brisbane Lions, and you cheekily said to me in the lead up to this podcast, which mark are you talking about? You know exactly what mark I'm talking about, and so does every other Bulldog supporter watching this. So just sit back for a moment. We're going to play the tape for you, and then just give us your recollections and memories of that. And Bont, you're going to have to sort of give it a bit of a rating yourself, but I put it right up the very top of the best Bulldogs marks we've ever seen.
John Syracuse again. It's stuck in one arm. He left early, and that is confidence. We have got to see it again.
Oh, big guy.
Sensational. Matthew Robbins. Oh, it's one of the greats. Pocket dynamo. Held it all the way down too.
How many times a day does that one get a run at the Robbins primary school?
Once or twice a day, but you can never see enough of that. That's all good.
Unbelievable. Up in the sort of like the third level, and then the ability to take it in the one arm. Like there's good marks, and then there's like level of difficulty just goes up to stick the one arm out and just kill it in.
And like G said it was a decent kick. It was an inside out barrel, and I've marked it with one hand sitting on a recliner chair. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Did you?
Mate, something.
No, you go.
You go, Bob. I was going to say something neither Bob or I can probably attest to, because I don't know how many high marks you took, Bob. But I haven't seen any clips. You can show me that time. But I cruise at a much. There we go. I cruise at a much lower altitude, so I have an enormous amount of respect and appreciation for those high flyers. So you had a number of them, but that was an absolute cracker.
You took it over a fair player too, Papa.
Yeah, well, it was at a time where we were kind of. It was like the changing of the guard. It was, I don't know if you can remember it. It was like Brisbane was just starting to like peter out after having some really amazing years. And then we were kind of just starting to find ourselves in that game, especially. Yeah. Like it was 205. We were just like moving the ball. Like we're just playing so high risk footy. And I'd kicked 3 on him already, and he was getting lippy, and I was lippy as anyway. But and I was just saying stuff like, "Oh mate, if you keep standing in front of me, mate, I'm going to stand on your head." And like, and when you say that stuff, it never happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
He just kept sitting, and I kicked 3 as I was up and about, and I kind of just launched myself at it, and I was like, oh
Yeah.
my God, and it just sat, it fell in my hand. And I was,
Mm.
but normally when you sledge and you say those kind of things, they never happen. Like, so
Yeah.
it was just by chance that it did. But he was a superstar player. So
You had a I always remember you as having sort of, you know, like brownish hair, but just as you as you got up and went back to take the kick, it looked quite dark. The rinse.
It was a rinse. It was definitely a rinse. So I went through my phases where I had the blonde tips like Bob used to have back in the day, and
Yep.
and then I went black, and then I was just it was reflective of the year I was having, I think.
Well, man, it was an unbelievable mark. It's one of the all-time great Bulldogs marks, and one I'm sure the Bulldog supporters will love revisiting. It's great to see it. Great to hear your voice. You're looking well. Don't be a stranger, mate. Because
Can I just say something, Bob? Can I just thank you guys? The 2016 premiership, like, was just amazing for past players. Just to really sharing the day. It was huge. Like my brother passed away a couple of years ago to skin cancer, and it was one of my fondest memories, just being there at the MCG for you guys to help us win us a flag, and it was just an amazing day. So thanks very much, guys.
Well, there you go, Bont. That's feather in your cap, mate.
Thanks, matey. I appreciate it, mate. Thank you very much.
All the best, guys. Thanks again.
Thanks so much for coming on the podcast. You're an absolute legend. Love you.
Big Poppa Pump.
See ya.
See you, Big Papa. See you, Big Sexy.